This man lost 47 pounds in 60 days. But losing the weight wasn't the reason he walked into my gym. He walked in because he was afraid he wouldn't live long enough to walk his daughters down the aisle. You see, one afternoon, I was sitting in my office at the gym. It was the end of a very long day, and I was getting ready and just packing up, getting ready to go home. And suddenly I saw this massive shadow come through the door. I couldn't quite make out who it was at first, but whoever it was had to be at least 6'3", 6'5". I mean, this person was a giant. And he started walking towards me. And then in this very deep baritone voice, he looked at me and said, "Are you JT?" To which I was a little concerned. I said, "Yes, sir. How can I help?" He looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, "I've been referred to you and I need you to tell me whether you can help me or not." Then he told me something that I'll never forget. He said, "I have 2 young daughters. One of my biggest dreams is to walk them down the aisle one day. But at the pace I'm going, I don't think I'm going to be alive to do it." He was dealing with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, obesity, and several other lifestyle-related health problems. Then he said, "If you can't help me, just tell me now and let me walk out that door." Now, I'll admit, this caught me completely off guard, but after 2 decades of coaching people through transformations, I looked him dead in the eye and I said, "Yes, but," to which he sort of raised his eyebrow. And I said, "I need to ask you 3 questions." And he said, "Okay, what are those questions?" I said, "Are you truly ready in your heart of hearts? Are you coachable? Are you willing to keep lines of communication open even when things aren't going well? Because let's face it, success is not linear and we're gonna have some ups and downs." To all 3 of my questions, he answered yes. So that day, that man joined my 90-day Empty Your Bucket Transformation program. And what happened next was life-changing for him. After 60 days, my phone rang and it was him. He said, "JT, are you sitting down?" To which I laughed and I said, "Yes, what's up?" "I'm sitting down." He said, "I'm 47 pounds down." He kept going, but under the supervision of a physician, his type 2 diabetes had gone into remission. His doctor had taken him off blood pressure medication. His hypertension had dramatically improved. And then he said something much more important than the number on the scale. He said, "I feel great, JT. I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel." Now, here's what's really, really crazy. What we did wasn't complicated. In fact, most people would probably think it was too simple, but simple and easy are not the same thing. And if you're trying to lose unwanted weight and decrease body fat percentages as efficiently as possible, they are the principles that I talk about all the time. And I want you to understand these principles because I think they will unlock things for you. And so principle number 1 is stop trying to outrun a bad diet. I can't tell you how many times I see people on the side of the road, I live in Florida, running at 12 noon, 1 p.m. when the sun is beaming. Now, you know anything about Florida, it's 95 degrees, June, July, August, September, pretty much all year round. And I see the sun is just blazing. I see these people running down the road. Sometimes they're wearing sweatsuits. Some of them have hoodies on. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, this person, not only are they not going to lose weight, but they're going to end up at the ER. And so when this gentleman came into me, he was trying to run and he was running a lot. He thought more calories burned equal more weight loss. And to some extent, I guess that makes sense, right? Except his knees were killing him. His body was constantly beat up. And despite burning plenty of calories, he wasn't getting the results he expected. So I told him, simply stop running. He looked at me like I was crazy. And then I told him, we're going to power walk. He said, walk? That's it? I said, yep, pretty much. That's all we're doing. We put him on a structured walking protocol at an appropriate intensity. And he was shocked because instead of destroying himself with every workout, he started to actually pay attention to recovery. He could stay consistent. He could accumulate activity week after week without constantly feeling like he's fighting pain and exhaustion. And the scales started to move like never before. So here's the lesson. You don't need the exercise that burns the most calories in 20 minutes. You need the exercise you can recover from, repeat, and sustain. For many overweight people, walking is massively underrated. Start with what your body can tolerate, build consistency, and then progress. Principle number 2, reset your palate. This is probably one of the biggest nutritional changes we made. He had developed what I would describe as an extremely powerful dependency on high rewarding dopaminic foods, especially foods loaded with refined carbohydrates and sugar. Now hear me carefully, carbohydrates are not evil. I don't demonize carbohydrates or any other food for that matter, but there's a difference between eating a sweet potato and living on foods engineered to make you keep eating to continue to be hungry. So temporarily, dramatically simplifying his diet was what needed to happen. We removed many of the foods that were constantly stimulating his palate. Interestingly enough, the primary objective wasn't even losing weight. The objective was self-control. He wanted to change his relationship with food, because here's what happens when you're constantly eating hyper palatable foods. Normal food starts to taste boring. Your threshold for reward keeps increasing. You don't just want food, you want stimulation. Salty, sweet, crunchy, creamy, something every few hours. You're constantly wanting to stimulate and spike insulin. And so we gave his palate time to reset. Something fascinating began to happen. Foods that previously seemed bland started tasting good again. Cravings decreased. His appetite became easier to regulate, and his palate changed, and his choices changed as well. This is one of the most overlooked principles in fat loss. If everything you eat has to taste like a birthday party, you're going to have a very difficult time controlling your food intake. Sometimes the fastest route forward is temporarily making food simpler, making your diet as simple as possible. Principle number 3, fix the boring stuff. Everyone wants the secret supplement, the secret workout, the secret diet. Meanwhile, they're sleeping 5 hours a night and drinking almost no water. We optimized his nutrition. We optimized his hydration. We prioritized sleep. We worked on recovery. We created a consistent structure for eating he could actually follow, something realistic for him. None of this sounds exciting, but your body does not operate in separate compartments. Sleep affects hunger. Stress affects appetite. Fatigue affects decision-making. Poor recovery affects training. And dehydration can make you feel sluggish, hungry, and terrible. And it is so much harder to discipline yourself when you're dehydrated or sleep deprived. So before searching for another hack, master the fundamentals, right? The basic things, the things that oftentimes people overlook. Principle number 4, accountability changes everything. This may have been the most important piece of the puzzle. I communicated with this person on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And at first he thought it was ridiculous. He thought it was overkill. He said, do we really need to communicate this much? I said, yes, because after more than 25 years of doing this, I've learned something really important about people. Most people don't fail because they don't know that chicken and vegetables are better than donuts and French fries. They fail in the moments between knowing and doing. Tuesday night, when they're exhausted. Friday, when someone invites them out. Saturday morning after they screwed up Friday night. That's where coaching matters, because one bad meal doesn't destroy your transformation, but one bad meal followed by this thought, well, I've already screwed up everything. I'll just start again on Monday. That's how one decision becomes 4 days, 5 days, 7 days. Communication, accountability interrupts that pattern. Accountability catches you before the mistake becomes a spiral. So what's actually the fastest way to lose unwanted weight and decrease body fat percentages? It's not starving yourself like most people think. Right? It's not what most people think when they think of the word diet. They can only think of the first 3 letters of the word diet. They think they're going to die. They think food is going to be bland, right? It's not running until your knees hurt. It's definitely not bouncing from diet to diet every 3 weeks. It's creating an environment where the behaviors responsible for fat loss become repeatable, easier to do. You don't have to exert all of this energy in order to make it happen. For this gentleman, that meant walking instead of beating up his body into the ground by running, temporarily simplifying his diet and resetting his palate so that his cravings weren't out of control, optimizing his hydration, his sleep, his recovery, maintaining aggressive accountability and communication. And yes, the weight came off quickly, but the greatest victory wasn't losing all of the unwanted weight. It was becoming the kind of man capable of keeping it off, because truly, I don't believe America has a weight loss problem. I think America has a maintenance problem. So here's the full circle moment. This is where the story really gets me. Today, he has maintained his transformation. He's roughly 6'3", around 210 pounds, and has kept his body composition under control for years. I recently saw something that stopped me dead in my tracks on Facebook. It was a picture of him walking his daughter down the aisle. Remember why he walked into my gym that afternoon? That was the dream. It was never really about weight loss. It was never really about getting fit or staying in shape or doing any of those things. I mean, that was just the byproduct, but his main goal was to walk his daughter down the aisle. It was about being there. It was about being alive, being healthy enough to participate in the moments that mattered. That's what transformation is really about. Your weight is a number. Your body fat percentage is a number, but behind those numbers are birthdays, anniversaries, grandchildren, daughters getting married, and people who need you. That's your why. Maybe you're watching this right now and thinking, JT, that's me. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe your blood work is starting to scare you. Maybe your doctor has already warned you. Or maybe you simply recognize that the road you're currently walking isn't leading somewhere you want to go. If that's you, my friend, if you're ready to do something about it, I left a link in the description box down below where you can reach out and we can have a conversation about this, okay? If you're new to this channel, subscribe, because if you enjoy practical conversations about transforming your health, strengthening your discipline, and becoming a better steward of the body that God has entrusted you, you clicked on the right channel. Like this video and comment below and tell me what part of this man's story resonated the most with you. I read all of the comments and I would genuinely love to hear from you. And if this video helped you, you're going to want to watch this video right here, because I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I needed to start losing unwanted weight today. May the Lord bless you and keep you. I'll talk to you soon.